so glad to introduce you to Amrita Sarkar, who is joining me today for our prompt publication interview. And she's going to tell us a little bit more about her writing and what she gets up to when she's not on the site. Hi, Amrita.
Hi, Mia. Thank you for having me here.
It's lovely to finally meet you. We've seen each other online for so long.
Yeah.
Amrita, yeah. Cool. I'm going to jump straight in with the questions. So can you tell us a little bit about yourself? Who are you? What do you do? What does your writing day look like? What keeps you busy when you're not writing? What can you tell us?
Yes, so as of now, I'm a full-time homemaker, and I used to work in a full-time job. I had a corporate career about 5 years ago, but then I shifted to Chennai after marriage, and I was still looking out for a job, but then somewhere there was a gnawing thought at the back of my mind that now is the time probably I should, give my aspirations a chance, and which was writing. So I slowly started to write, and that's how it started. Basically, family and friends. Like when we were in Chennai, it was just me and my husband. Now I have a little boy, and whom I have to look after all the time. So that is my family. My parents are now, I'm in Kolkata, so in India, and my parents are here, and so are my in-laws, and there are a lot of relatives, and everyone has been really supportive of my writing journey. So yeah, I would say that's kind of a capsule in capsule who I am and everything.
Oh, wonderful. And tell us a bit about the experience of writing a book. You have Untouchables up on Amazon. What can you tell us about that?
Yes, so actually, The Untouchables wasn't supposed to be a book. I was writing a short story, which I had intended to publish and send it to some contest, a writing contest, and but I missed the deadline. And then I realized when I revisited the story, I realized that it wants to grow, and there are many things that could go into turning it into something bigger. So I started writing again, and then also I think the second time I published on Amazon, they had this pen to publish contest on KDP. So I had published it for that, and it was a novella by that time. It was about 10,000 words. Yeah, I just did it just to see what happens. I think more like that. But it was nerve-wracking at times. Sometimes you think whether you're going right, you're going wrong. It will be up there. There'll be people who will be seeing it. What will they think? So far, I'm grateful to whoever has read the story and has given their reviews. They have been encouraging and positive so far. So yes, it was one heck of an experience, putting up your book up there for people to read and to hear what they feel about it.
Okay, good. And then before all of this, did you grow up writing? Did you write as a child? How did you end up deciding you wanted to be a writer?
I think I have always known somewhere, because I used to like telling stories, and I had a blog long ago. I think it's on Blogger. It was on Blogger. That was the only platform available to people back then to blog. So I used to put up my blog posts there. And that time I didn't write as many stories that I write now. Those were mostly like posts about issues that I was interested in. And I mean, they used to get some feedback. Mostly they were encouraging. It was encouraging feedback. So since then, I have been into writing on and off. But during my corporate career, I didn't get so much of time. But after I left it, it once again the writing bug just bit me, and I got back into it. So initially, yes, it was not all that good. My writing was very mediocre, and even now it is not. I won't say it's top class writing, but I'm learning a little every day. So that's how I got into this. And then I would say 12 SS when my friend Joyce actually told me to join this group, and she said that everyone publishes on this group and you should come and see. And I joined the group, and I found it to be a very rewarding experience, because I had never thought I would be a part of such a group where there would be so much of talent and there would be so much of useful feedback for me to evolve as a writer. So yeah, I guess that's how it slowly started to happen, and here I am now.
Oh, we're very, very glad that you're here. Yeah, I think it was
Thank you.
Hemingway who said, we're all students in an art where no one becomes a master. So I don't
Sure.
think writing is ever a craft that you can say you have
So you just keep
100%
learning more and
mastered.
more.
Every time you've learned something, you wait, now I can do this, and now I can do this. So it never stops. But that's the wonder of it. So thank heavens. Tell me about your relationship with writing. Does writing energize you? Is it exciting for you? How do you go about it?
It's for me, writing is, and yes, it definitely energizes me. But more than anything, it's like an escape to me, because there are so many concerns that I think it happens to several writers like me. There are so many concerns in your day-to-day life. You have all kinds of issues, and it is that necessary break when I'm writing about a certain character who is not a part of my world, or a story that it's not related to my own life in any way. It's kind of an escape, a break from all those things to me. So yeah, I always see writing like that, because it's the much needed escape I need. So uh, yes, that way writing is a very, I would say, a therapeutic kind of process for me.
Yeah. When reality intrudes, you go find your solace in fiction. So
Yes,
good.
absolutely. It has
Good.
now become into this kind of an ailment where I sit and I start chatting on behalf of my character. So this character will say this, and then this character will respond. So
Great.
yeah,
Yeah.
it becomes like that at times.
No, wonderful. Do you do any other creative pursuits besides writing?
I do like to draw and paint, mostly in the digital medium. I'm not a trained artist or something like that. I've not gone to art school or something. So
Mm-hmm.
that is something I do other than writing.
Stuff. Um, okay, what do you like reading?
I think I was really interested in children's fiction before I started to write. So it's a cliche, but J.K. Rowling is a favorite, and so is
Good.
J.R.R. Tolkien and C.S. Lewis. All their books, I used to, just devour them. And I had plans to, initially when I had started to write, I thought that I would become a children's author, and I used to read every book that was there. But other than that, I also really like Dan Brown's novels, the way it is so intricately woven, his very extremely intricate plot structures.
Mm-hmm.
Then there is, Stieg Larsson. So among the thriller writers, lots of them, Indian writers. There is Amish Tripathi. There is, of course, the master Satyajit Ray, who is an extremely, renowned writer, illustrator, and everything. So there are that it's an endless list now. I can't also recall the names also as I think of it.
Great. Okay. So, yeah, writing for children is an art all on its own. So that's also a wonderful challenge that is
Yeah.
definitely still ahead of you. Tell me a little bit. We've spoken a bit about your publishing journey, about putting the books up on Amazon and stuff. And I always ask writers, what do they consider to be a literary or a publishing success? Because it can be so wide. So, what would you think would be a success, or has been a success?
So like I mentioned, like I was writing a short story which accidentally got turned into a novella. I put it up on Amazon, and it was a nerve-wracking process, because that was the first time I was ever publishing something of that
Mm-hmm.
into Amazon. And then once it got out of my way, the feedback that started coming in for whatever I had written. So I think the actual success, the measure of success for an author would be how many people actually read your books, and how many people come back to you and tell you that, I really like this, or I didn't like this, or something. I mean, how many people you can reach out through your writing. That is actually the measure of success. Of course, there is a commercial measure too, but that is there. But I think a writer truly feels gifted when they see that more and more readers are picking up your book, and they have they love it and they love your stories. So I think that is a real measure of success for me.
Tell me a little bit about the writing of the book. What was the hardest part? The initial short story, or the making it longer, making it publishable? What was the biggest challenge for you?
Yes, it's definitely making it longer and publishable. Uh, I'm a bad writer when it comes to writing violence of any form, or doing action sequences. Like, it's so easy when you watch it on screen and people are kicking each other and it's all, but when you sit down to write, uh, it always awes me how some people do it like so effortlessly. But those were the harder parts of lengthening it out, and then how, where, what to fit in and how much to fit in. That's the harder part of it. And then describing, because the novel is about it's related to a women's issue which was prevalent in India several thousands of years ago. It talks about sati, which was like a woman had to burn herself at the fire when her husband died and burn along with him. She was cremated alive. So this was a custom that was kind of popularized by the priest classes, and there was no scientific base to it, or it was against, in most cases, against the will of the woman who was burned. So yes, so it would show, it would depict some kind of a violence, though I have tried to screen it. But I personally find myself a little uncomfortable at writing such things. So these are the most hardest things to put down in a story.
Yeah, very emotional, very difficult subject matter, sure.
Yes, it is, because it was a very dastardly task to do, forcing very young girls, because most of these women were very young and they were married off to men twice their age or something, and they used to die first. So in the prime of their youth, they were forced to sit on the pyre with their husbands, and it was mostly the Brahmanical class, which a section of it, not the really learned people, because the Indian Hindu texts, like if someone gets deep inside to research, there is nowhere a mention that a woman has to burn with her husband on the pyre. It was more like a choice she's offered, and it was also on very exceptional circumstances. But it was kind of done by the Brahmins, to a certain section of the Brahmins, to get hold of her property or other lands. Land was a big deal back in the time this novel is set. It is set in 5th century BC India. Okay. So back then, land grants and all these kind of things, assets, were considered very invaluable to that particular class. So yes, so it had to depict some of it, and that was hard to write, actually.
Sure, I can imagine. Shame. Yeah, sometimes as authors, we set ourselves up for these stories and we think, oh, I'm going to write about this, but we often underestimate the emotional toll a story like that takes. So, but well done. Okay. What kind of advice do you have for writers? What can you tell us? You've gone through the process of self-publishing. You've been on 12 short stories for a while. What kind of advice would you give to someone who wants to follow in your footsteps?
From my personal experience, I would say just write every day. It can be a word, a sentence, a line, a few words. All days are not the same. Every day won't be really productive as a writer, as every single day is not like that. Some days it will be, you'll hit against a mental block. Some days it will just flow like poetry. So but we have to keep writing. Like in my case, if I don't write for some days, I suffer a setback, like my flair suffers. And then it takes some time to getting back into action or finding the right words or something like this. So that is the one thing I think all writers must do.
Okay, that's good advice. Yeah, those are all my questions. You've spoken a bit about your childhood books, which you've read, which I think are lovely, all the wonderful fantasy stories. Is there anything else you'd like to add for us?
I think I'll just add a bit about 12SS and my journey here. Cool. As I said, I'd really like to thank this group, because what I write today, or the writer I am today, is mainly because of 12SS, and joining this particular challenge was life-changing kind of kind of a situation for me, because before that I had this thing in the back of my mind that I want to be a writer, but I had no, I didn't have any idea how to go about it, what all preparation you need. I just knew I wanted to be a writer. But coming to this group and then writing stories every month with that word limit, and with all all the feedback that you get, it kind of disciplines you in a different way. And now I can safely say that there are areas of problems that I can spot that yes, this might not, even when I submit something to some other publication. For instance, one of my short stories recently got selected by the Hive publishers for the romance anthology. So even
Congratulations.
then, yeah, it's already out. It's in the book. Thank you so much.
Wonderful.
So yeah, so when I was writing the story back then, also I had some sort of an this thing. This is working. This is not working. So all that is because I joined 12SS. So I really want to thank you as well as every member of this group who have helped me to evolve as a writer that I am today.
Oh, it is the
It's
biggest
a
pleasure,
lot.
and you show up to do the work, so that's why it works. Okay, every writer on the group does. They post their stories and they give their feedback, so that is the important part. But yeah, thank you for doing
Yes,
that.
it is.
Cool.
Thank
Okay.
you.
All right. Thank you for joining us, Amrita. I'm so pleased to have had this chance to speak to you, and it was lovely to meet you.
Thank you, Mia. The pleasure is equally mine. Thank you for having me and for this lovely chat.
Oh, it's such a pleasure, and best of luck with your writing in the future. I expect big
Thank you.
things.
Yeah. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you so much. You do.